Ernice Gilbert here with the VI Consortium for an exclusive interview with the CEO of Monarch Energy Partners, Mr. Robert Schrader. How are you doing today?
Very good. How are you, sir?
Thank you. I'm doing good myself. You're on island.
Yes, great to be here. A nice flight in today.
You'll be testifying at the Senate tomorrow.
Tomorrow, I believe, 4 o'clock.
Monday at 4 o'clock.
Yes.
Yes. Of course, we know ABRVI has signed an agreement with the government of the Virgin Islands. However, it's not finalized. The Senate must ratify that deal in order for it to move forward. You came to Consortium with some very, very important information. People needed to know what's going on in the background. Why did you come out so late in the game to share the information you shared with us?
I don't know it was late in the game. It was the right opportunity. And again, we went through the process of what we thought. Then we were asked questions by people on the island. We simply told our story at that point. As far as late in the game, I don't think I've ever been lucky enough to have a strategic decision and an opportunity present themselves at the same time. So this is a big deal. Yeah. And it requires a lot of people. It requires a team of people that not only include the expertise of running the facility, but it takes a lot of funding, which is crucial to the whole project.
So we're talking about the acquisition of Ovenza, of course.
Correct.
You've explained to VI Consortium that it's been an uphill battle with Lazard Asset Management.
Yeah, and I didn't talk to Lazard personally. This is, again, if you look at the landscape and the history of refineries over the last couple of years, Big Oil's always owned the refineries. And there's a reason for that. Big Oil is very well capitalized. There's been a change in that direction in the last 3-4 years, especially in the Northeast, where private equity firms come in. So it's there's people who may have the expertise to be able to run a refinery, but it takes a lot of money to do that. And in order to get the right team, the right people in place, we wanted to make sure we had that prior to coming forward. So.
Okay. Let's talk about taxes. Earlier on Sunday, VI Consortium released an article concerning Mr. Daryl Hardy, one of the principals of Monarch Energy, said that ABRVI not paying taxes to the government of the Virgin Islands is a slap in the face. Do you agree with that assessment, and will Monarch Energy be paying taxes to the Virgin Islands government?
Yeah, there's several economic ripple effects, if you would. Taxes are paid by property, then by income. Also, what our plan is to get the people working. So the more number of people that we get working, they're going to be paying taxes. And then those people are going to be buying things. So it's a multiplier effect throughout. However, we're going into this, I mean, there's a lot of money at stake from private equity firms that wanted to partner with us. They're not just going to throw that away. So our goal is to be profitable, which means we pay taxes. We didn't have any qualms about paying the property tax at this point. And again, I don't want to speak in hypotheticals because we haven't seen the entire package. So I think that was the basis of the story when we were first asked. We didn't have the opportunity to go through the whole process.
Okay, so you were saying that Monarch Energy will agree to pay taxes in a deal if that is part of a deal the government and Monarch Energy forges. You won't have problems with paying taxes?
Absolutely no. I mean, that's what you do in America, and that's without taxes, the government doesn't have a budget, and that's how they provide services for the people. So a good deal in business is that everybody does well. Mm-hmm. So if we do well, and obviously if we're using a property, that's part of the rules. So
can you explain to us what Monarch Foundation is about?
Yes, I wish Darrell were here at the point. Darrell, actually, his background is in, he runs a company also called Gemini Foundation. And basically, it's a foundation that gets money from different sources and decides how to give it to the right people. So people in need, students. He also does counseling with students, make sure they have enough to get them to the next step. So we talked about that, and again, I think the quote was in light of what Leon Hess used to do. Leon Hess, when the refinery was doing well, always gave back to the people. With that spirit, we want to do the same thing.
Okay. You've said that you're ultimately looking to employ 1,600 people.
Yeah, long term, I think the number was around 1,100. Once we get the refinery fully operational, then there'll be contractors, there'll be ancillary jobs, there'll be. I think we tried to project how many jobs because the refinery is open. So that's where the 1,600 came from. But we also plan on offering different services at the port and different things just to create jobs and offer services to the oil industry, vessel owners.
Okay. ABRVI does not have the money up front to come forward with a deal. You've said that you have available right now $1.5 billion to move forward with your project if given the agreement.
Yeah, and I think I explained that previously. Again, we don't know what the deal is. So I'll give you an example. If you go to buy a house, you know how much you're paying for the house, and then you can budget. So we don't know where we are. We have some very good information from previous people that have been in the refinery. So we have some good knowledge, but again, going in blind without seeing, we can't be accurate. We were asked at one point, again, our financial people were involved with that at the time, and I mentioned early in our conversation that a refinery is very capital intensive. So not just the acquisition, there's potential factors that would affect that acquisition price. Contamination, remediation, what type of liabilities would we assume from the previous owner, as well as just the ongoing working capital it takes to run a refinery. So based on that, we showed a good faith of $1.5 billion. Actually, we confirmed with a bank that $350 million, and then a letter of credit on top of that. So that's what we're showing right now. Is that going to be enough? Again, that's a blind number that we have available, and until we know the exact details of the transaction, we don't know exactly what that would be.
So does Monarch Energy Partners, do you have access to more than the $1.5 billion if needs be?
Yeah, and again, part of looking at a transaction, we have to do various pro forma numbers. We have to basically, someone's coming up with a lot of money, so we have to show them, all right, this is what it's going to take for capital, and this is what's going to happen once we invest that money, and an expected return. Like I said earlier, they're not just going to throw that money away.
Right.
So if need be, yes. We have pretty accurate numbers from a previous group that looked at the refinery just to start it up, just to turn it back on after idling for 2 years could be upwards of $250 million.
Okay.
So again, that goes into the equation.
When we spoke earlier, you mentioned that the intention going in, if given the deal, is to restart and get people back on the job from 6 to 9 months.
Right, that's the thing. I mean, we've done market studies. The refinery has been shut down 2 years. Obviously, we're looking at a global market for the product that it refines, but it could be a good venture. But the bottom line is that the people would go to work, and as I mentioned just a little earlier, that ripple effect it would help the entire economy of St. Croix.
Okay. All right. What type of oil will Monarch Energy be refining?
We've looked at, well, actually there is a decree. We've spoke with the EPA. We've had several informative interaction with the EPA. There is a consent decree at this point, which is one of the reasons Havenza had some issues. That was the high sulfur content of the oil that was burned, that was refined. We see the bios or some of our people, we have sources out of the Bakken. So there's American crude, Eagle Ford Shale region, as well as West Africa. We're looking at several different sources. This would all be considered light sweet crude, which is very low, below 0.2 sulfur, so very low in sulfur. Comes out with a very nice product, which also eliminates some of the previous equipment that emitted a lot of the...
So you won't be using the cat cracker and the coker?
No, we wouldn't have to do that. And again, we have to get in there to make sure, but there would be no reason to use that because the crude that we'd be using is already...
What are your plans for the EPA's $700 million fine that they leveled against?
We have to talk to them. That's again, in order to make this deal work, and I think I told everybody, it's got to be a community effort. So we go to everybody who's involved and say, look, this is what we're going to be profitable. Here's what we're going to bring to the table. We don't want to skirt any fines, but at the same time, we have to be sensible as to our capital and ongoing restrictions with that capital. So we would talk to them, negotiate. There has been cases. I know the refinery in Philadelphia reopened, was able to put some of that work that had to be done off, and then deal with it at a later time. So again, we're talking hypotheticals, but we're not here to skirt anything, but we might need assistance from everybody.
Your business plan, of course, is nothing as a detailed contract. It's not close in detail in relation to the ABRVI contract. Of course, you have more plans as it relates to the refinery and detail and everything.
Yeah, and again, we're way behind the 8 ball, if you will, in this process. I think our overall plan, we know what we want to do. To get to those details, it's, again, we haven't even stepped foot on the refinery. We haven't had access to the refinery, so there's... And
you said you wanted access earlier, but again, situations...
We wanted to get in the process. We were told at the time we could enter the process if we showed money. We showed money, and
you showed $350 million.
Exactly, and apparently that wasn't enough, and then we were kind of just put off from there, so...
Why do you think that became the situation? Why were you not allowed?
I don't know. I can't, there's several theories out there. I don't know. I don't know.
In relation to payment, we looked at your business plan and you said payment or salary for employees would be comparable to Philadelphia's refinery.
Yeah, we wanted a higher wage rate because that's the market we're basically in. So we want to attract, one philosophy of Monarch itself over the last 25 years is we are able to attract very good people. We keep them. In order to keep good people, you pay them a decent wage and you take care of them. So,
would you mind giving a figure as to Philadelphia's?
I don't know. There's various trades that.
In terms of refinery.
There's again various trades. Operators. There's a difference. I couldn't go through the literally list of. but it'll be comparable to that, and that's most of that public knowledge. So.
Monarch Energy's deal, what you presented, what you've spoken to VI Consortium about, seems very attractive, and people out there wonder, okay, why this seems too good to be true. You want to, over time, employ 1,600 people, you want to pay very good. Let's talk about, before we go there, how many local people, Virgin Islanders, is Monarch willing to employ?
Yeah, I was asked that question, and our business model is always to hire local people because they're here. It would cost us more to bring people in. So it's easier to train people and have them work here. Plus there's a built-in workforce that was already working here for many years. I know a lot of them left, but we have in our plans initially to have a job fair. We have people that worked at the refinery already that identified, has a list of people that, I think 1,500 or 1,600 people. That may be where that number is. People that actually worked at the refinery before that we're going to draw from.
You have a list?
Yes, one of the members has a list.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've said that one of the members of ABRVI, one or more, intimately acquainted with the whole Venzo refinery. They were involved in the shutting down of the refinery?
You're saying ABR. I don't know about that with us.
No, with you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
with Monarch I meant.
Yes. Yes, we had people that were actually part of the shutdown.
Okay.
Now, there's 2 years in between, and we have a tropical salt weather climate, so a lot of things could happen over that time, but we have a good idea.
Okay. So going back to my question, a lot of people say, well, this sounds too good to be true. You want to employ over time 1,600 people. You're willing to pay taxes. You're setting up a foundation that would see 1% of your net profits go into various projects and programs around the community. One of your members spoke about, bringing back St. Croix to its former glory and the refinery. It sounds too good to be true, and most people would say when something sounds too good to be true, then probably it is. What would you say to that?
I would say that's a normal business model for us. I mean, we're going in to obviously be profitable. And again, we believe in taking care of our people, and that comes with paying taxes also. So that's the way to do business.
Some people have questioned how long has Monarch Energy Partners been around. Can you give us some detail on that?
I'll give you some good history on that. Yeah, Monarch Environmental, as it was reported as the parent, Monarch Environmental has been around in one form since December 19th, 1989. So it'll be 25 years old next month. That is, I started it in my mother's basement with no capital. We service the oil companies, so that over the time we've been able to grow just by our service model. Our first contract was with Sunoco, and in the Philadelphia area, there's, you said, many refineries that have all changed names, changed plate, or people changed faces. It was kind of a small hotbed of the Northeast and the refinery, as well as the downstream, which is gas stations. So we serviced all of them, and pretty much dealing with the major oil companies at the time. They go through some pretty stringent insurance requirements, audit. They come to our place, make sure that everything is good. Sunoco took us to an office in Florida, so we have an office in Plant City, Florida, that we service most of the downstream partners, as well as some pipeline contractors, pipeline companies, major utilities. So for 25 years we've been around, and it was a steady growth over that time. And our major customers, major oil companies. So that experience, we're dealing with a lot of these people over the years that we create relationships. And Monarch has several different companies, but one is called Monarch Environmental Recycling, which we it's kind of a niche that we have. We take off-spec product from oil companies. In other words, once the gas would be contaminated with water, cross-matched with diesel or something, it doesn't stay in their system. So we take it and we actually reprocess into usable fuels. So to some degree, we're refining refined product back to its either original state or into a usable product. So we have one of two permits in New Jersey. So we operate facilities in the petroleum industry, and then also the one in Florida. But the one in New Jersey, we're the only ones allowed to accept gasoline as a recycled product, from my knowledge, from Connecticut down to Virginia. So we cover a large area on the East Coast, and again, just about every major we're approved to do work for.
As it relates to benefits for employees, will Monarch Energy agree to provide health care for its employees?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And would that be full coverage, I suppose?
Yeah. And again, I can't say what kind of plan, but that's how we operate now.
Okay, you're testifying on Monday at the Senate, as we mentioned earlier. Do you know what exactly you're going to be talking about?
We have a presentation. We have our basic story that's been out from the consortium, just telling our overall plan. Again, we can't get into hypotheticals because we don't have all the details, but we have sufficient information that would lead us to making a viable plan. So we're going to tell them that. I don't know, I don't know ABR, I don't know, there's rumors they may be there, I don't know. We're just going to tell our side, and again, we were asked before, so we're just telling our side of the story. I don't know where we are in the process.
But you do believe that your deal is better than what ABR is offering?
I wouldn't be here if I didn't think so, yeah. Again, I'll go back to my original statement that we could say we're going to do this, we could say we're doing this. As a business person, you've heard the old, it takes money to make money. And especially in the refining business, it is very capital intensive. So I think we bring more of a funding mechanism that we can do things immediately rather than self-funding over years. And I think that's really the difference between.
You've spoken of 500 to ultimately 700,000 barrels of oil per day. What do you expect to start with? What number?
Well, I think there's 4 units, and I think we'll be around, again, about 200,000 to get things working, then ramp up. I know one of the units, from the knowledge I received, is probably not worth it. I think in the heyday, Havenza was producing about 650,000 barrels. So we're going to try to get back there. When they stopped, when they shut down, idled, they were about 350. So, we're going to have to get in there and work it. We're going to have to, there's going to be some capital investment that has to be done. But we want to try to get it to, highest capacity that's allowed.
So final question here. The people of the Virgin Islands, they're paying attention to everything that's been going on. You've visited the consortium and see, the comments and the passion. It's a big thing for St. Croix in particular, and of course the Virgin Islands on a whole. The refinery has employed a lot of people. It's made a living for a lot of people of the VI, and it's very, very close to their hearts. Why should the people of the Virgin Islands consider Monarch Energy Partners as compared to ABR, VI, or any other company? Why Monarch Energy?
That's a great question. I think there was some release sent out, and it started with the fact that this group was inspired by some locals. And some of the members of the group, when I came in, told me about the heartache, the tough times, the difficulties of the economy of St. Croix because of this refinery. So the passion behind Monarch Energy Partners is that. And again, we believe that, as I mentioned earlier, a good business deal, everybody shares in it. If it's a good deal for everybody, it's a really good business deal. And we believe that we have the best deal when we want to be here, and the passion that we have for the people, I think they're eventually going to enjoy the glory of before. And again, if we make money, the employees are making money, and we have that whole ripple effect. So I think, again, based on our experience, the experience of the people, again, I'll start with, there's really two major things here. Can we afford this project? Can we afford the transaction? And can we operate it? And can we operate it efficiently enough to make it profitable? Because again, I always tell everybody that ever worked for me, if we're not profitable, I'm going to have a tough time paying you. So it's a really a team effort, and that's how this developed, and that's how we want to maintain and go into Avenza with the same bottle.
All right, Mr. Schroeder, thank you for spending time with the VI Consortium.
Thanks, very nice meeting you.
Good luck on tomorrow.
Hope to see you again. Thank you very much.